Hello and welcome back to the podcast that also doesn't really like opera, so who's really the bad guy in this film? Welcome back to another episode of the Love, Death and Movies podcast, Internet's number one film breakdown and review show. The show that crushes watch this week after week. Every couple of months is a different genre, every week, and that couple of months is a different film, and that genre so follows and everything joins the ride. Let's watch the movies. Ash, with me, each and every week. Ash first movies. How are you, Ash?
Oh, I'm good. I needed that laugh, so thank you.
Yeah, you're good. We're doing back-to-back recordings, so my bad. Yeah. This is the end of.
I'm good. You're good. We're all good.
Yeah, we're all good. This is the end of 80s bangers, which has been really cool. So we're doing it with Dario Argento's Opera, which I think is a first watch for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So we are going into, after this week, we're going into 90s bangers. We'll reiterate this again at the end of the episode, but 90s bangers is next. So we're starting up next week with The Truman Show, then My Cousin Vinny, then In the Mouth of Madness, Jackie Brown, Starship Troopers, La Haine, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Cape Fear, and ending it up with The Sixth Sense. Hell yeah.
I'm excited.
Before we get into the whole episode, Ash, what have you been watching lately, Ash?
I've been watching so much interesting stuff, honestly. So this is like going back a bit because we haven't recorded since like I even watched Blade Runner, which we already talked about. But Adam got me as an early birthday gift the Steelbook for It Follows. So I rewatched that recently. So good. The sound in the 4K restoration. I mean, it's not really restoration. It's not that old of a movie, but the way they like revamped it for the Steelbook, so crisp, so good. The sound was incredible. I just love that movie.
Are you excited for End of Oak Street?
You know, honestly, I haven't really heard much about it. I feel like I missed the trailer because I'm trying not to watch trailers as much anymore. And it kind of just like came out of nowhere. I feel like it's like getting released now and I just don't know that much about it. So I'll check it out.
From insider sources that it's fucking great.
Okay. Well, I'm here for it. I mean, I'm here for anything that he does, honestly. So
I've got my screening, I think it's next week. It's either next week or the week after.
Okay.
But I think it looks so sick. So
yeah. I'm definitely excited. I'm just really trying hard not to watch as many trailers because I feel like they kind of spoil the excitement for me. Not so much like spoil the movie, but just it shows so much. And then I feel like you build expectations and it's just, I don't know, I'd rather just go in blind. So anyways, yeah, that was fun. And then I went to my friend's birthday. He's a big movie lover as well. We went to this cool little like old Victorian house that's been converted into a little movie theater, like in like the down below area of the house. So he had a bunch of us that he invited for like a private party and he got to pick a movie and he was a surprise. So he chose this movie from 1999 called Wild Zero. It is a Japanese zombie movie that has rock and roll and an alien hive mind.
That's so you. That's such a you film.
I didn't love it, but I thought it was so fun. It was crazy. I mean, it was like so cheesy, so just like off the wall. The practical effects were insane. It was a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend it. I was very proud that even Marta had never seen it. I was like, man, I'm early to this. Nobody else has logged it that I know on Letterboxd. So that was fun. And then I saw Evil Dead Burn when I was on my trip for the wedding. We feel the same, I think. Like I liked aspects of it. There was some crazy like fun gore and like some of like the thing being through her face from the car, the like seat thing. Yeah. Really, really cool stuff. The candle, wax. I thought that the girlfriend in general was like the highlight for me when she came back from like the whole car. I don't want to try not to spoil too much for other people, but when she came back from, being in the car with the dad and him and everything, I thought the main character, the brother, the boyfriend of her was
obnoxious.
I wanted to just punch him in the face. He was horrible.
Yeah.
I liked your review of the movie. It was really funny. It made me laugh. But yeah, I thought that the whole like domestic, I don't even call it like domestic abuse or like the abuse of like the French woman and the husband. I thought that it was like really cool, like the storyline, but they just didn't really execute it super great. So I think that's why it kind of was weaker than the other movies. And then on top of that, I thought that the CGI use was really just a bummer for such a franchise that just kind of prides itself in practical effects. So that kind of bummed me out. But 3.5 stars. It was still an Evil Dead movie, still fun.
I felt like it was kind of like out of pocket funny at moments.
Yeah, it was like weird. I was like, should I be laughing?
Be weird and funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like parts of it was giving me a little bit of like Ready or Not, as far as like trying to do this whole like in-laws versus like in a totally different way. But I feel like they were kind of trying to do this whole like, family drama, in-laws type of thing, and um, just not as strong as the other Evil Dead movies, but
Yeah, I agree.
still good.
We
And
got a
then
new one next year anyway, so don't worry.
yeah, Evil Dead Wrath. We'll see what happens after that. There's probably going to be more, so we'll see. Then I watched Drop Dead Fred, which was a rewatch of a childhood favorite. I made Adam watch it with me. That was just silly good time. And then I made Adam watch House, which I don't know if you've seen.
Wait, the Japanese film?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
77
I
Japanese
watched
film.
it so that I could, because Marta said that she'd watch The Beekeeper with Jason
If
Statham
you
if I
watched
watched
House.
House.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was fucking weird as
You can
shit.
see how influential it is, huh? Like
Yeah,
with how horror comedy is now. Like I feel like it's like an early example of how goofy you can get with it. So that was fun. And then we had our nieces, and they love watching movies. They're 15 and almost 13, and we thought Scott Pilgrim versus the World would be a
oh,
good
good.
one. They loved it, so that was fun. And then they also wanted to watch something the next morning, so I showed them Josie and the Pussycats, which I don't think you've seen yet.
No.
But that's an early 2000s movie about just like the music industry and consumerism and subliminal messages in the industry. It's really fun. I recommend it.
Oh, yeah,
And then I watched opera. So that brings me up to now.
that's awesome. Well, yeah, I already went through everything I watched, so we're kind of up to date.
The Odyssey 5 times basically
Yeah, this is really good. I'm really like. So when do you watch it? Next
on
week?
Saturday, a week from
Okay.
yesterday.
You go to IMAX or just normal?
No, IMAX.
Good. You do miss out a lot because I've seen it now twice in IMAX and one in normal. You do miss out a lot on like a lot of like shots that just
Not seeing it IMAX?
that aren't in IMAX. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
I planned on only seeing it in IMAX.
yeah, you got to see it in IMAX. I think you'll love it. To be honest, I think it's fucking awesome. I can't wait to hear what you think. If you don't
Yeah,
like it,
next time.
don't turn up next week. But until then, Ash, we're talking about Opera 1987, directed by Dario Argento. Budget of 5.3 million, apparently. Box office of 1.3 million, apparently. So it's very
Apparently.
like not very documented. A young opera singer is on the cusp of stardom and is hounded by a psychopath with a connection to her past, who forces her to watch as he brutally murders her friends and colleagues. Ash, is this your second Dario Argento film?
Yes.
Yeah, same with me.
Yes.
I'd seen this before, but this was my second. What do you think of opera? What do you think of Dario Argento? I fucking love him.
I think he's great. I think
Yeah,
he definitely has like a style, and it probably either works for you or doesn't. But I always enjoy his camera work and always enjoy how he incorporates music, obviously. Yeah, Suspiria being the only one I've seen. I've watched it multiple times, and I really love Suspiria. I liked opera a lot. I didn't like it as much as Suspiria, but I thought it was really just creepy, and the camera work was so impressive and really put you in like that POV of the killer, which was really cool. You don't get that in too many like movies that are, I guess, in that like slasher genre, which yeah, and I thought it was kind of like fun that it was almost like Scream in a way where it's like a who done it a little bit, like who's behind the mask. But yeah, I thought it was like it's so typical of him to do like a movie that can kind of be like classified as, campy and a little cheesy and just like really fun and like chaotic, but underneath it's like these themes of like childhood trauma and like obviously there's like the voyeurism aspect of it, and it's really really cool how he blends it all together. I thought that the ending was a little weak in my opinion,
I
but
agree. I agree.
I still really liked the journey up until that point. I do think it suffers from getting a little repetitive, only because it's like the same thing he's kind of doing every time. But I appreciated that like the setting, changed drastically every time, and like her kind of reaction to it kind of changed every time. So that made it more like interesting than, it didn't get too stale for me personally. But I think any kind of slasher gets a little repetitive, to be honest, because obviously they're just going around like killing people in the same, general fashion. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of bound to happen. But yeah, that opera rock metal, like back and forth of the score was honestly kind of unlike anything I've ever heard before
So
in a
cool,
movie. It
isn't
was
it?
so cool. And I just really enjoyed the premise behind like yeah like making her like watch and like the way they went about it with like the
The
needles and everything.
needles.
It was really really dark. Yeah, I have nothing to say about the performances, to be honest. I don't think that like any performance was like wowing me. But I thought everyone was fine. I mean, I think the main like actress is, I think she's good. But yeah, I don't really watch Argento movies for performances. I watch it for like the style and
Yeah,
the
and the
craziness
sound.
and yeah, the sound and just everything. So I really did have a good time watching this one.
As you said, I think you nailed it. Like in terms of like the way he uses music is so sick. Like you can even say that with Suspiria, like how Goblin doing that entire score is awesome. Like that's
Makes the
another one
movie.
of the scores that I have on repeatedly throughout the
Yeah,
week while I'm working.
so good.
I love Suspiria. Like I was trying to describe Suspiria to my girlfriend Megs, and and I was just like, just listen to this one. I was like, before I describe this film, listen to the, and I put on the Suspiria main theme by Goblin, and she's like, this is so like sounds like a fairy tale. I was like, exactly, and I was like, but
Like
it's
a dark
not.
fairy tale.
It's
Yeah.
and then you watch this, and exactly, it's like completely different, but it takes you out of it in the best way possible. Yeah,
Hmm.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think this movie is really great. I think I still very much prefer Suspiria, um, but that's just I don't know. Maybe they're both so weird. They're both different, but they're so weird and so stylized.
Yeah.
And you can look at any frame and be like, it's an Argento film.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I felt like the characters in this one, there was a lot more like charactery characters, like especially being like in the theater setting, like the director and the costume designer, like the behind the scenes guy who she was like secretly like kind of having a thing with, not secretly, but you know, kind of doing that off the stage. There was just a lot of like fun, like very not tropey, but just like they were very charactery, which I thought worked really well for
Yeah,
the style of movie it is. Even like the inspector being the killer. Like there's just all these things that are just really like funny.
so cool, such a cool movie. But let's get into it, Ash. Also, Ash, I'm watching Spider-Man: Brand New Day in 2 days. Pretty happy with that.
Cool. Happy for
Anyway,
you.
I just want to randomly put that in there. Um, when Mara, the arrogant and ill-tempered star of an avant-garde grande production of the Verdi opera of Macbeth, is injured after getting hit by a car outside the theatre after arguing and insulting the director and theatre people, Mara's young understudy, Betty, is informed of the accident and is given the converted role of Lady Macbeth, the coveted role of Lady Macbeth. In spite of her initial sense of foreboding, Betty is an instant success with her performance. However, an anonymous opera buff finds his way into the opera house on the opening night, watching Betty's performance from an empty box. When a meddlesome stagehand finds him watching and orders him to leave, the unseen fan murders the stagehand by impaling him with a coat hook. Okay. Impaling him to a coat hook, sorry. After the show, Betty's boyfriend, Stefan, shows up in his dressing room to congratulate her and invites her back to his apartment for some intimate time. Afterwards, while Stefan gets up out of bed to make some tea for Betty and himself, the unseen killer breaks into the apartment where he attacks and overpowers Betty, ties her to a pillar, and forces her to watch him kill Stefan when he returns to the bedroom by stabbing him to death. The killer tapes a row of needles beneath each eye so that she won't shut them before or while he makes her watch. Afterwards, the hooded and masked killer unties Betty and then flees. Disturbed by a half-hidden childhood recollection of the same hooded killer murdering her own mother several years earlier, Betty chooses not to go to the police and instead confides in Marco, the director of Macbeth, about the incident that the killer may know her. Why not go to the cops? Anyway,
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
the next day, Inspector Alan Santini, great name,
Mhm.
arrives at the Opera House where he questions the staff about Stefan's murder, as well as probes an apparent connected attack on the Troubled Productions' pet ravens, when three of them were found dead after the show. Betty arrives at the Opera House for rehearsals, but choosing to avoid Inspector Santini, hides out in the dressing room where she calls her agent, the motherly Mirror, for advice on what to do. Anything to kind of add here, Ash? The beginning of the film, the first kill, the
I think
whole needle under the eye shit, it's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I'd always seen that image on Letterboxd of a girl with like her mouth taped in the eye. Like I didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
obviously, but I was very intrigued. So I knew that image was coming. But I it's hard because I feel like that first killing is the most like brutal and terrifying. And I felt like it was hard for anything else to compare to that, like
Mm.
after the fact. But that one was definitely like it had me like kind of like ooh, like covering my eyes because it was just so brutal. Um, Funny enough, I felt like the inspector, like when he came to her door, like to greet her, he seemed suspicious to me from the beginning.
Yeah, same. It was just like, oh, you stink.
I don't know if it's because we've seen so many
Yeah,
horror
if you go
films
back,
about
if you go back
killers.
to the '80s, and you're watching this, it probably wouldn't be.
Like, yeah, you get so good at, and we also read a lot of thrillers. So it's like you're always like knowing how to look for like signs of like who the bad person is. But I'm not sure that it was supposed to be some big like secret, I think, for the audience at least. But yeah, I thought that that was kind of just like funny that I kind of clocked him as being suspicious from the beginning. But yeah, that first one was Stefan brutal. The making her watch the way it unfolds, and like once you kind of click, like you're like, oh, that's what this is about. I feel like it kind of takes like a little while on your first watch, like to kind of get what they're going for.
Yeah,
But once she talks about like the dream and oh, maybe this is a memory, not a dream. Like once it kind of all starts to connect, I feel like it kind of makes sense. I also really love how they focus a lot on the Ravens, like in the opening
mm,
shot and throughout that first like 15 minutes, because I was like thinking to myself, that's going to come back around. I don't
yeah,
know how or what, but I know that these birds are going to have some big part in this story. And I loved the POV shot towards the end of them circling. Like that was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen camera work like that in a movie ever.
no, it's so sick.
So cool.
Hell yeah. Later that day, Betty meets with the wardrobe seamstress Guella, Guella, Julia, Julia probably.
It's probably
Um,
Julia.
yeah, it's probably Julia. Sorry, because I got the names from IMDb, so it's spelled with a G.
I think that's how Julia is spelled in other like countries.
Europeans, come
Yeah.
on. Julia with her costume. When her costume is found slashed to pieces, cold gold. While Julia fixes the dress, she finds a golden bracelet sewed into it. While Betty and Julia try to find what the faded words on the bracelet say, the killer arrives again, ties up Betty, taping needles under her eyes while he attacks Julia to retrieve the bracelet. But Julia fights back, puts up a fight, knocking the killer down to the floor with an iron. But Julia makes a mistake of removing the killer's mask, which results in the unseen killer stabbing her to death. When Julia, with her dying breath, inadvertently swallows the bracelet, the killer has to cut open her throat with scissors to retrieve it. It's fucking gnarly. Why would you swallow the bracelet? It doesn't matter.
Right. I think she thought it was like valuable to them because they don't still know why he's doing this at that
Yeah,
point.
right. He puts his mask back on, unties Betty before fleeing. But when Betty flees to her apartment, she's met in the lobby by Inspector Santini, and tells him about the latest murder and that the killer may be after her. Santini promises to send Betty a detective to keep guard over her. A little later, when Betty struggles against her vision after applying eye drops, a man identifying himself as Inspector Sovi, Sovi, Inspector Sovi, arrives to look after her. Sometime later, Mira arrives and tells Betty that she talked with a man in the lobby claiming to be Inspector Sovi. Unsure which one is the imposter, Betty and Mira hide while the figure claiming to be Sovi receives a phone call and leaves the apartment. While Betty tries to call the police, Mira hears a knock on the front door. Mira demands the visitor to identify himself and is not convinced when he shows police ID and a gun. As she looks through the peephole, she's shot through the peephole by the killer, trying to gain access into the apartment. So good. Betty is forced to hide as the killer breaks in, and she comes across the real Inspector Sovi, who stumbles into the apartment after being fatally stabbed. After a game of cat and mouse in the apartment with the half-blind Betty, trading gunshots at the hooded killer with Sovi's gun, she escapes through a ventilation shaft when a neighbor girl helps her escape into the apartment down the hall. The little girl's abusive single mother arrives home, where she yells at the little girl for having company over and tells Betty to leave. Betty returns to the opera house and meets Marco. He tells her that he has a plan to entrap the killer, while Betty begins to think about a further connection to the killer and her long dead mother, whom was also abusive to her. Anything to kind of add here before we get to the final part of the film, Ash?
The
Everyone just
shot through
dying
the
around her.
Yeah, the shot through the door was pretty, like, filmed really cool, and also just like
Brutal.
good on that friend for, being suspicious and asking for the like more information to try to make sure it was actually the right person. But
Yeah.
I also thought it was really stupid of I felt like Betty, not my favorite final girl, mainly because she makes a lot of dumb decisions.
Yes. Yes.
I felt like obviously not involving the police earlier, kind of dumb. Obviously wouldn't have maybe helped because of what we know about the inspector, but also thought it was really dumb that after everything she learned, she so casually unlocked the door and then walked away and left it
Yeah.
just cracked open. Like, what are you doing? That made me really annoyed with her. Like, you're dumb. But I did think the little girl coming through, like, that was unexpected, which I thought was really fun.
Yeah.
Like, her just, like, popping in and being like, hey, I gotcha. Come this way. But then they must have left some sort of signal. Like, they must have not latched it or something back because he was very clearly caught on to it pretty immediately.
He's already there.
But yeah, I mean, nothing really to add. I think this like kind of last bit is interesting and fun, like how they decide to try to catch him.
Yeah. Not for sure. Oh, this is really cool. I agree that like the shot through the door, like you can kind of you could see it's about to happen, right? You can predict it. But going back to the 80s, they would have like because we've seen so many of those type of shots
Yep,
from now until then. But I think that's just such a cool little shot. That's awesome.
absolutely.
The following night, Betty once again takes stage as Lady Macbeth. But her performance is interrupted when Marco unleashes a flock of vengeful ravens into the audience, recognizing the face of their attacker from the previous night. The birds swoop down on him, sitting in the audience, gouging out his eyes. Lol. The murderer, whom is revealed to be Inspector Santini, attempts to shoot at Betty on stage, but she evades the bullets when Santini evades capture and subsequently pounces on Betty as she is recovering in her dressing room. Dragging her to a far-flung corner of the building, he reveals to her the motive behind the persecution of her. Santini was once her mother's young teenage lover, cruelly murdering young women at Betty's mother's behest by tying them up and staging the killings in front of her. But when Betty's psycho mother became increasingly greedy for sadomasochistic thrills of the murders, Santini murdered her too, while Betty witnessed the event from behind a partially opened door. Now, many years later, Santini's desire to kill has been rekindled by Betty's appearance, which he sees as her mother's reincarnation. Blindfolding Betty and tying her to a chair, Santini stages his own death by setting fire to the room and apparently himself. Betty manages to break free and escapes from the blaze to be comforted by Marco. Betty and Marco leave Rome, traveling to the Swiss Alps to a house that Marco owns so that she can recuperate. Wouldn't it be nice to have a house in the Swiss Alps? However, when he hears a radio broadcast that the man, though have been burned alive was Santini, was in fact a clothed mannequin, Marco yells for Betty to run away. Santini shows up at the house to finish off what he started, and pretends to be the housekeeper. And murders the housekeeper. Betty flees into the nearby woods with Santini in pursuit. Marco takes on the murderous policeman, only to get stabbed to death. Marco. Betty then distracts Santini by coming onto him long enough to bash him on the head with a rock, and he's then set upon and dragged away by the police. With her nightmare experience finally over, Betty wanders through an empty meadow to find solace in nature. There, Betty finds an ugly lizard trapped under the grass and releases it to go free. That is opera. Ash, what do you think of opera?
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought that for such a dark like premise, there was just a lot of like fun 80s like camp and Argento stuff in there. Obviously, we've already talked about the sound and the camera work, but I have to reiterate the camera work. I feel like it was just so unlike anything I've seen before. Especially even like that scene when she's getting into the vent and it like flips around and like there's just so many really cool things that I feel like I can't imagine had been done at that time, much before at all. And you don't see a lot of POV like that with killer movies. So I feel like they've done some now, like later
Hmm.
on, but I feel like there hasn't been too many, and I always really enjoy that. I think it's kind of just a creepy, eerie way to like, add to the suspense of what's happening. So yeah, really enjoyed it. I don't know what it was about the ending. I don't know if it was just like the shift from the setting we were in into like them being somewhere else, but then he's not really dead, like some big shocking twist. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it was. But yeah, I have to imagine that final scene was supposed to kind of represent something with like her kind of like finally letting go of everything, all the trauma she had dealt with her mom. And this was kind of like a freeing moment. And maybe like her freeing the little lizard was kind of like her kind of talking to like her inner child or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was something there of that. I don't know why it felt kind of off to me. It almost weirdly felt rushed. It was like that
Yeah.
last like bit felt rushed in a way, but it also felt like the last 30 minutes kind of went on for a long time. So it was one of those weird movies where I felt like it was too long, but also some scenes were too quick. So it was just not my favorite
I feel like they didn't need that
ending.
last scene, to be
Maybe
honest.
that's what it was. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like for the type of genre that it was, I'm used to horror films like this just ending a bit differently, maybe.
Yeah.
So it was just a little bit unexpected. Once you've seen so many, it's hard to not compare. But yeah, still really enjoyed like the premise. Again, like the music and the opera. I'm not like a fan of opera, but I feel like just the setting of it mixed with the kind of like heavy metal when like there was like these epic killing scenes was just a really cool way to do it. And Argento just has such a unique style. I just feel like I'm always going to be excited about watching his movies, whether they're my favorite or not, just because there's just something creative there that you don't get in every
Mm.
horror film. So, 4 stars for me, and definitely looking forward to watching more of his movies.
Hell yeah. Nice. Agreed. I gave it. What did I give it? What did I give it? I think I'm giving it 4 stars as well. I think yeah, like I think Suspiria for me is better, but
Yeah.
it's just a preference sort of thing. Yeah, 4 stars. Um, I think it's got so much cool style and stuff. I don't love the ending as well. I think they could have just ended in the opera house, which is where it was. I think it should have didn't shouldn't have gone
Mm.
to the Swiss Alps and then they listened to this radio and they turned to the left and the guy's just already there. I'm like, it kind of felt campy. Kind of took
And even
away from
like the
it.
dogs and stuff. She's like, I noticed the dogs. I knew you guys were. Yeah, it was just, it
Yeah.
wasn't great.
Yeah, so 4 stars, still very good, but um, yeah, the ending kind of took it away from me. Next week we are starting 90s bangers with the Truman Show, so please do watch the Truman Show. Then we got My Cousin Vinny, In the Mouth of Madness, Jackie Brown, Starship Troopers, Lahane, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Cape Fear, and The Sixth Sense. But until next time, we're just going to go into a quick. What do we call this? Like 1v1? Or like a showdown? Or
1v1, guess the movie.
yeah, guess the movie showdown, 1v1, whatever you call it. We've each
Guess
got
the
a
movie
movie
showdown. I like that.
like that. Um, we each got a movie that each other has to guess, and it's kind of like who guesses first. Instead of just one person doing 20 questions. This is a great idea from you here. I love this.
You're welcome.
Ash, do you want to ask first question? You can if you like.
Sure. Is it released after 2000?
This was released after the year 2000.
Okay.
Is mine a 2000s film?
Yes.
Sick.
Is
Really sniped that one. Really sniped that one. Didn't
We've been doing a lot of post 2000 stuff, I feel like, in
we?
general. Is mine a franchise of
No,
any kind?
no franchise. Do I rate mine 4.5 or 5?
I don't believe so, but let me double check. I looked at it and I didn't write it down. I believe. No.
Okay.
Is mine a horror film?
No. Is mine part of a franchise?
No. Hmm. Is mine from the 2010s?
No. No, it is not. Is mine a horror?
No. Is mine also from the 2000s?
No.
Oh, shit.
Do I give this a 3.5 or a 4?
Yes.
Interesting. Alright, so it's that's a lot of those movies.
Has mine been discussed on the pod?
We haven't reviewed it.
Okay.
It might have come up in conversation, but did I say franchise for me? Is mine part of a franchise?
You did ask that already.
Yeah.
I said no.
Cool. Is mine a comedy?
No.
Okay.
So mine's obviously from the 2020s. And do I rate this 4.5 or 5 stars?
Let me check. Yes. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Not a comedy. Not a.
Trying.
Do you rate this movie 4.5 or 5?
No.
So you hate this film.
Scooter, please stop. I hate it. Yeah. Is mine a... Is it like a big picture, like a big blockbuster type movie?
No.
Okay.
Is mine. Mine like a blockbuster-esque.
I wouldn't categorize it as that, no.
Okay.
Like to me, big blockbusters are things like Star Wars and
Yep.
because that's a franchise though. I feel like it's kind of a dumb, but it doesn't have to be a franchise to be a
Have to
big
be a franchise,
blockbuster.
no?
But
I
like
think the
even something like
Disclosure Date's a big
Spielberg, or,
blockbuster.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Spielberg or something like that. That's kind of what I was trying to
Yeah.
go for.
It's not part of a franchise.
Okay, is mine from a? You asked the same question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is mine like a big name director, like somebody I recognize?
No.
Okay.
I don't ask the same question, so I'll keep that for the next question.
I'd have to probably look if you asked me that too.
Okay, so that's already given me that answer.
Yeah, it's like just to give you a hint, like they've done things that
Yeah.
you've
So
seen, but I wouldn't say it like
same with this guy.
Yeah.
Person. Is this a movie that we reviewed?
Mm-mm.
I was thinking Disturbia.
Oh, no, not Disturbia. Is this Is this an Oscar nominated film?
I think so. Yes. Yes. Does this have a main character or like a big cast?
I mean, I
Kind
would
of
say
both.
yeah, it's got a big cast, but there is a main character as well.
Doesn't give me anything actually.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every movie, right? It's like it's not like a movie where there's like 4 actors in it or something like that. Like it's
Yeah,
got,
something like,
you know.
like Castaway or something like that is like basically one.
No, I wouldn't say it's in that nature. No.
Okay.
So mine's not a horror. I haven't guessed that many genres. Let's see. Is this a drama?
Yeah, I'd say it's a drama. Let me just for genres drama. Yep. Is mine animated?
Yes.
Oh, ash.
I feel like I'm blanking. I need to like narrow down how long ago this movie came out. Okay, so I know it's 2020s, but I'm gonna ask, did it come out in like the last 3 years? So is it like 2023 to present?
Yes.
Okay, so I definitely would have logged it on Letterboxd like as I saw it.
Mine's not part of a franchise. So, is this Pixar?
Maybe.
Interesting.
Okay, 2023 to present, not a big blockbuster, not a big name director, Oscar nominated drama that I really love. Not horror, obviously.
I was gone until I got the animated question.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like once you asked that, it was going to be much easier. I just picked a random movie.
Nice.
I don't know
Still,
why I struggle with these like more modern movies because I feel like I've seen so many movies in the last 3 years that I have so many in my head. Okay, trying to think of Oscar.
you do give it 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Wow,
It's a 5-star
one of my
film, Vash.
one of my top movies of the last couple of years. Okay, I feel like I need to like. I just can't think. Drama always throws me off so badly.
Yeah.
I don't know why. My brain wants to go to like past lives or something.
No. No, it's not Past Lives.
Hmm.
Um,
It's not a question, but oh, you said it was also directed by a man. You gave that hint, so obviously it's not past lives.
yeah. I've got like a clue for you that will probably give it away. But I think the main performance for this comes from the best supporting actor.
Okay. As I say, is I was actually going to ask if the lead was a male or a female.
Male.
Okay. Okay.
Is this movie about a little rat that likes to be a chef?
No,
Okay, it's another one. So I've got 3 in my mind. So it's
not the rat.
not the fucking
Is
rat.
is this I give it 5 stars, never mind. My brain went to Jesse Eisenberg, Kieran Culkin, in that film that came out that I watched at Sundance. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the title right now.
I know what you mean, though. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? The one where they go, yeah, that's the one, that's where my mind went when you said supporting actor, but
Yes.
I don't think that was Oscar nominated. Is the supporting actor you're talking about with the great performance, is that a male?
Yes. You'd think about Real Pain.
A real, yes, thank you.
Great movie. Is this about a dumb fish?
No.
Okay. I got it.
I'm like trying to think. I feel like last year and this year I have missed a lot of movies.
Might not be
So
from those years then.
I know. It's making me go like to the year prior because I'm trying to think of my top movie from like 2023, like Oppenheimer, and Past Lives. So then 2024 was the year of what was that one? I'm so bad with years and
Think of
movies.
that first year, I reckon. Maybe.
2023.
Maybe.
Is this a 2023 film?
Yes, it is. It is. Is this about a dumb robot that likes to collect trash?
Yeah.
Okay.
You nailed it. 2023, 5 stars. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? 2023 was the year that I gave so many 5 stars, I feel like, because wasn't that like, that was Guardians 3 year as well,
I think so.
right?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm thinking about all my 5 star
Do you want
movies.
a
I feel
do
like,
you want a question to ask me?
sure. I mean, I've already asked like probably 15 questions, so
Ask, is this a holiday film? Like,
is
would
this
you
a
watch
holiday film?
Like, would you watch this ever?
Oh, is this The Holdovers?
This is The Holdovers.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Love The Holdovers.
You were so close the whole time, though. Like, is this Wall-E? Is this Wall-E?
See, it's funny because yeah, Alexander Payne being the director, I've only seen 2 of his movies, so
Yeah.
yeah, definitely like wouldn't have. I wouldn't say like big director, but he's definitely known,
Yeah, it's like he's
obviously.
done stuff that you know, but
Yeah,
he's not a big director yet. No.
nice.
Nice one, Ash. That's good fun. I love those ones. They're good fun. But yes, please, until next time, please watch The Truman Show. But until next time, I'm Harriet Sash. Love it, the movies. We'll see you, movies.